What does it mean, the Lord is my shepherd? Years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, when I was young and lived in England, I met a pastor or an evangelist who worked with kids. He'd go in our summer, and in England we have 2 seasons, winter and the second week of August. There's very little sunshine, but he would take a tent, put it up on the village green, and work with children, fill it with children. It's sort of like camp that comes for a week. And he told me a story about this. He said it was getting to be winter, and he got a call from Scotland, which is right up at the top of England, a long way away from where he was. And the pastor up there said, we've had a terrible tragedy in our villages. I don't know what the tragedy was. But would you come and just put your tent up? It's getting to be winter and really bad. But the children are just devastated by this. We've lost some of our children in the village. And so he said, well, okay, if the snow doesn't come, and up he came. He was coming into the village. He looked to the right in the field, and there was a young man, probably about 12 or 13, looking after sheep and goats. He put down the window and he said, I want you to come to my meetings, young man. Can you get someone to look after the animals? I'm going to talk about the Lord is my shepherd. And you're a shepherd, and I think you need to hear this. He said, well, I'll try. And he did, and he came. Our friend did a very simple thing for the week. He had 5 days up there. He said, the Lord is my shepherd, using his hand. The Lord is my shepherd. And the first time he talked about the God of gods, the only true God, Lord. That's the name of the personal God. God isn't a God that made the earth and made you and me and then just went and made other universes and forgot about us. Lord means personal God. The Lord is. We can know he is our shepherd. How is that? How can we know he is? And our friend explained, we can know because he said he is, and he can come into our hearts. We can have the shepherd inside us by his Spirit. The Lord is my. Oh, and that was the day that our friend said, if you want him to be yours and you don't know how to ask him in, just get hold of that finger like this and shut your eyes and say, Lord Jesus, be my shepherd, forgive my sin, and come in. You can do that right now. Lord, be my shepherd, and come into my life, forgive my sin, and live in my heart forever. And that's what he did. And he looked up, and the little shepherd boy he'd invited was like this, holding that finger. And then the last time he talked about shepherd and what that meant, what Jesus as his shepherd now and all of their shepherd was going to do throughout their life. And then he went home. And within 2 days, the snow came up there in Scotland, and there was a blizzard. And the next day, he had a call from the pastor, and he said, I've got such bad news for you. Remember that little boy, the shepherd boy? Well, he was back looking after the sheep, and the snow came, and he didn't have any light, and he ran out of the fold to look for the shepherds because he hadn't brought them into the fold. He didn't know it was going to be a blizzard, and he could hear them baaing and everything. And in the morning, we found all the sheep dead, and we found his little body. He'd died. The pastor was devastated, and he said, oh, I am so sorry. But, said the pastor in Scotland, I have a question. It was funny. Maybe you know. He was like this. He was holding this finger. My. Oh, said our friend. He's in the heavenly fold. And he explained to the pastor what he'd been teaching. The Lord is my shepherd. And Psalm 23 ends, he will take us to his fold forever. In the Psalm 23, you can get a Bible and read it all. You'll see what your shepherd will do for you. Now he is. If you want him to be your shepherd, you don't need to hold your finger. You can bow your head and say, I want you to be my shepherd, forgive my sin, and come into my heart. And he has, if you prayed that prayer.